Hey guys, welcome to the next section, selecting elements. We'll begin this section by understanding about DOM. Then we'll learn about selectors like CSS, attribute and custom. Moving ahead, we'll learn about DOM traversal methods and iterate over jQuery objects. Finally, we'll be iterating over jQuery objects. Now we move on to the first video of this section, understanding the DOM. In this video, we'll first understand family tree metaphor. Then we'll learn about $function. One of the most powerful aspects of jQuery is its ability to make selecting elements in the DOM easy. The DOM serves as the interface between JavaScript and a web page. It provides a representation of the source HTML as a network of objects, rather than as plain text. This network takes the form of a family tree of elements on the page. When we refer to the relationships that elements have with one another, we use the same terminology that we use when referring to family relationships: parents, children, siblings, and so on. We'll now look at a simple example to understand how the family tree metaphor applies to a document. For this, we create an HTML file named family tree. And add this code. Here, HTML tag is the ancestor of all the other elements. The head and body elements are not only descendants but children of HTML as well. Likewise, in addition to being the ancestor of head and body, HTML is also their parent. The P elements are children and descendants of div, descendants of body and HTML, and siblings of each other. To help visualize the family tree structure of the DOM, we can use the browser's developer tools to inspect the DOM structure of any page. Let's now load the familytree.html page and look at the developer tools. This is especially helpful when you're curious about how some other application works and you want to implement something similar. With this tree of elements at our disposal, we'll be able to use jQuery to efficiently locate any set of elements on the page. Our tools to achieve this are jQuery selectors and traversal methods. The resulting set of elements from jQuery selectors and methods is always represented by a jQuery object. These objects are very easy to work with when we want to actually do something with the things that we find on a page. We can easily bind events to these objects and add visual effects to them, as well as chain multiple modifications or effects together. In order to create a new jQuery object, we use the $function. This function typically accepts a CSS selector as its sole parameter, and serves as a factory, returning a new jQuery object pointing to the corresponding elements on the page. Just about anything that can be used in a style sheet can also be passed as a string to this function, allowing us to apply jQuery methods to the matched set of elements. In jQuery, the $sign is simply an alias for jQuery. Because a function is very common in JavaScript libraries, conflicts could arise if more than one of these libraries were being used on a given page. We can avoid such conflicts by replacing every instance of with jQuery in our custom jQuery code. The three primary building blocks of selectors are tag name, ID, and class. They can be used either on their own or in combination with others. Look at the example shown. This selects all paragraphs in the document. ID selects the single element in a document that has an ID of some ID. And class selects all elements in the document that have a class of some class. When we call methods of a jQuery object, the elements referred to by the selector we pass to are looped through automatically and implicitly. Therefore, we can usually avoid explicit iteration, such as a for loop, that is so often required in DOM scripting. That's all for now.